Live at Virtue Field in Burlington, Vermont. It's a sun-soaked, gorgeous June evening. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Brian McLaughlin with Matt Montel. Vermont Green FC returning home to take on the Blackwatch Rush. Matt, a pleasure to be back alongside. The third match in 7 days for Vermont Green, but they're first here at beautiful Virtue Field. What are you excited about today as we're back in action?
Well, first of all, the weather. What a way to break up the week with this, huh?
Gorgeous Tuesday night taking on a Blackwatch Rush squad that comes in at 1-5-1. Let's meet the Rush starting 11 as we get you set for action with Vermont Green FC looking to take home the full 3 points. And Matt, as we look at the Blackwatch Rush starters, it is going to be an interesting early couple of minutes as we get a feel for the formation they're playing, and Vermont Green will as well. On the roster we were given, they have 5 defenders starting today. I don't think we're expecting 5 at the back, but what do you expect we could potentially see with those 5 defenders?
I think if it's true, we'll know that, once they're lined up, we'll be able to see exactly how they are going to line up. But I think, if we see 5 defenders on that roster, that's going to look like 5 at the back. It's going to be a big brick wall trying to stop leaking those goals. They've been leaking a lot of goals this season so far, so I'm not surprised if it will be 5 at the back. But in possession, it's going to look like 5 in the middle, when they're attacking for there. So it's going to be a give and go. I'm looking at that left back, that right back. They're going to act actually as wing backs. So they're going to get into the attack, but they're going to have to do a lot of work to get back in defense.
To that point, they're allowing over 2 goals per game, so this is a defense that has struggled. Now let's meet the Vermont starting 11 as the Green come in, coming off a loss against the Western Massachusetts Pioneers. Matt, looking at this 11, what stands out to you?
It's another kind of heavily rotated starting 11 for us, and I think that's a lot to do with game management, managing those legs, maybe like tiny little injuries. We were talking with the coaching staff. It doesn't sound like it's anything too serious, but it's, to avoid anything too serious from there. I'm very interested to see Gonzalez starting again alongside with Bjorgolfsson, those two linking up. I hadn't seen them start at the same time, and now this is the second time in a row those two are going to be playing together.
It's the third straight start for Gonsalves, his second consecutive, Matt, like you said, with Bjorgolfsson. We're expecting the same formation for Vermont Green, the 4-2-3-1, with Gonsalves wide left. Aitor Bjorgolfsson is up top. He is the leading goal scorer in this lineup with 4, but no Diba Nwegbo, who's leading the team with 5 tallies. It's been an eventful last couple of matches for Vermont Green, Matt. Last time we saw them, a 2-0 win over the Boston Bolts. But since then, a 6-4 win over AC Connecticut, and then a 3-2 loss against Western Massachusetts. The lock on the goal has been it's been opened up. All of a sudden, goals all over the place for Vermont Green. It's going to be an exciting one again today as we have our first tweet across the screen. The Burlington Bears starting 11. You see them right there for Vermont Green. It's an interesting lineup, and we see a UVMer today making his first start at home. Garrett Lilly starting at right back as Owen O'Malley gets a break. Interesting to see Lilly. Normally he plays center back for the UVM Catamounts, playing wide right today. Matt, what are you expecting or hoping to see from Lilly filling in for a guy that we've been really impressed with in O'Malley?
I'm looking to see, I think he's placed there because he's versatile.
Yeah.
You don't put somebody in that very important position. The left back and the right back has become almost the most important position in the modern game. So if he's out there, that means Adam has a lot of trust in him. I'm going to look to see if he can actually get forward, provide maybe some assists, some good link-up play with the midfield, maybe have a shot on goal. We'll see.
Looking at the defense then, because they have surrendered a lot more goals recently than they were doing at the beginning of the year. And that's when we knew that Coach Pfeiffer and his staff were really focusing on the defense. But now the defense has been at times a couple of holes springing up in it. What are you going to watch for from the defense today?
I think, talking with the coaching staff for Vermont Green FC and Adam is that little extra 5%. We found ourselves essentially in the lead late into matches and giving up, what could be described as maybe a sloppy goal or just a little bit lack of concentration. And Adam understands, they're getting excited, they're getting lots of goals, but it's time to actually lock that back line back up and keep the ball out of the net.
Two teams that are in the USL2 Northeast Division. Let's quickly run through some of those division standings. Seacoast United still atop the division lead. We saw them here earlier this season. And the Western Massachusetts Pioneers sitting in that second playoff position with 21 points, currently tied with Boston City FC. Vermont Green right in the middle. They're in fifth, but they have played less games than just about everybody outside of this Blackwatch Rush team. Blackwatch Rush comes in 8th place out of 9 teams. Their lone win came against winless Pathfinder FC. So this is a match, Matt, that we know Vermont Green has to be thinking, we need the full 3 points coming in. How do you think that will show itself on the pitch?
Fang's got to be out. You got to get 3 points for this. If we're going to start having the conversation about playoffs and potential titles, any of that type of conversation, that's it. Looking at the rest of kind of, the next couple matches that are on the schedule for Vermont Green FC, you have to start bringing home 3 points every time.
Remember, it is the top 3 positions in the division that are important. The top 2 automatically qualify. But the third position is a wild card. We will look at the third position in the Northeast Division and the third place in the Metropolitan Division. Compare the points of those two teams, and the side with more points will advance into the USL2 playoffs. Vermont Green very much within striking distance of that third place finishing position in the Northeast Division. Remember, it's a short summer season, just 14 regular season games. Vermont Green has already played 8, but they're back at home for just the 4th time. So maybe they'll get on track here at home today, looking for the full 3 points against the Blackwatch Rush. You see starting in cage Nathan Schnurr today, the Creighton Blue Jay, making his 4th start of the season and his 2nd consecutive start. He was in net against the Western Massachusetts Pioneers in what was a really well-fought battle. Vermont Green had the early lead. Western Massachusetts went up 2-1, and Alfredo Bozalongo equalized late, but another set piece for the Pioneers eventually gave them the win last time out over Vermont Green. Blackwatch Rush in their road blue uniforms, while Vermont Green in their beautiful forest green home unis. Aitor Bjorgolfsson starting up top, and it is the Blackwatch Rush with possession underway from Virtue Fields. That's Charlie Adams playing centrally, the sophomore from Brown University. There's the pace of Matthew Gonsalves. Bjorgolfsson frees it up. Adams in the first 20 seconds. Vermont Green in front early. What a start for the Green. Adams beats the keeper.
Couldn't have asked for a better start. That's a statement goal.
At the 19-second mark, Matt, it was a turnover. Here's a good look at the finish.
A really patient finish, too, from him. He didn't rush it. He didn't take it at the top of the box. He waited just for the right moment, slotted it home.
The Vermont native, Charlie Adams, who hails from Norwich, plays collegiately at Brown. This is his 2nd straight start, and now he has scored in back-to-back matches. Charlie Adams has Vermont Green in an early lead. Man, there is no better start than that.
No, absolutely, dream start, especially just like we were discussing. If you're going to have a conversation about getting into the playoffs for it, I got a feeling, they're going to try to get 2-3 goals and then really manage the game. If Blackwatch aren't careful, this game's going to get away from them.
Already 1-0, just 90 seconds in. Now Vermont will play from the back. They've got 3 Creighton Blue Jays across the back tonight, including goalie Nathan Schnurr. This is Ryan Comby. Towards Alfredo Bozalongo. A great crowd on hand this evening. Expected to be one of the biggest crowds of the summer. And here come the Green again with Nathan Messer. Room to get a cross away. Plays the possession game for now. Down the line, that's the goal scorer, Adams, and a Green corner kick.
Messer and Lilly already getting, license to get forward to in there, and I like that he didn't just go for a really large cross. He tried to link up into there. He's looking confident already.
Adams will take the corner. A low bender to the near post, cleared away nicely by the Blackwatch Rush defense. Clearing it was Lucas Watt. They're starting right back. Now another cross from Lilly. Bjorgolfsson got ahead to it. Rising up Gonsalves. And in the end, it bounces into the waiting hands of James Joyce, the starting goalie for Holy Cross. He's making the start today for the Rush, trailing though 1-0. Physical play from Bjorgolfsson. We really saw Bjorgolfsson find his rhythm and find the proper spaces last time we were here at Virtue Field against the Boston Bolts. Are you expecting a similar looking Bjorgolfsson today?
Yes, I think he's going to look very similar to what we saw against Boston Bolts. Is this, looking at this back line, how he's already kind of just started to find that space. Like, we've already created 2 different chances. He's taken in almost 2 defenders everywhere he's going to. He's going to cause havoc.
Foul called behind the play. It's committed by O.J. Smith, one of 3 starting forwards for the Rush. Smith and Saad Faiz are the 2 big goal scorers. Of the 8 goals scored this season for the Rush, they've got 6 of them, 3 apiece. Messer in trouble, caught in possession by Jimmy Knoll. He slides it into the middle, and it finds the foot. Shot taken. Schnurr lays out and watches it go just wide. That shot from the midfielder Dylan Maxon, a University of New Hampshire Wildcat, and a good look for the Rush.
Those are going to be the type of things, though, that Adam and his coaching staff are going to want to eliminate. That's a preventable mistake, that led to an attempt on goal.
Corner kick coming, and the Rush take it quickly. Maxon, left-footed cross towards the edge of the 18, and it falls all the way toward the far side. Adams closes down defensively. Bozalongo. And again taken away. Lucas Watt down the left wing. Garrett Lilly stomps his foot on that move, but it goes to a Rush throw-in. Charlie Adams, the early goal scorer, has Vermont Green in front within the first 20 seconds of the match. Ryan Comby denies that crossing attempt from Andrew Decker.
The only warning, that I would have is getting a goal so early. 20 seconds into a match, you sort of almost lose control of maybe what was the game plan. Everything kind of goes out the window. You get really hungry for the next one. Adam and his staff are going to have a game plan for this, and Vermont Green FC need to remember. Those players need to remember to stick to it.
Noah Lachelle received in the middle, blocked back out. Maxon slides it through. Ashford got a bit tangled up with Lachelle, who tried to drop his shoulder. Doesn't get the benefit of any whistle that time. Goal kick coming for the Green. Schnurr in cage, back-to-back starts for him. Through 3 games started, he's allowed 5 goals, making 15 saves.
Take a look at Bjorgolfsson right now, too. 2 defenders marking onto him.
The big boy drawing all sorts of attention. Yeah, there he is, sandwiched by a couple of blue uniforms.
Still wins it, too.
He is impressive. Nicholas Desjardins had his pass taken away. Ryan Comby on the chase. Just keeps it in play along the sideline. Lilly. Garrett Lilly getting up into the attack. Loses out there. The Rush really favoring this left side at the moment.
Let's go Green! Let's go Green!
Ball's been kind of in the air for the last 30 seconds. I'm looking to see if we can kind of get that down, maybe grab a hold of it, get some possession going. I'd like to see, Vermont Green FC get their paws really on it.
Lilly and Comby trying to dance out of trouble. And now here's space for Bozalongo. He launches long. We know Matthew Gonsalves can run. Gonsalves, shoulder to shoulder with Jimmy Knoll. And Knoll wins that battle. Good pace there from Knoll to keep up with the guy we know can fly.
Yeah, it was very good defending by Knoll.
Maxon, this is Knoll. Bozalongo pressuring. Watt clears only as far as Mark O'Neill. Out of bounds, going with the green, and last off of Noah Lachelle, who's a rising freshman, headed to Syracuse in the fall. A talented player. He's yet to score for the Rush, but as a youngster, earning those starting minutes.
Syracuse is no joke of a program either.
No doubt. He's going to be a player. Of course, Blackwatch Rush, located in the greater Albany area. Couple of Great Danes on this side as well.
It's a hotbed of production for players, that whole area.
They've got a lot of those guys on this side. Pretty out of pressure that time by the green. Here's the captain, Jake Ashford. Bjorgolfsson spins around the defender. He brings it down. He feeds Gonsalves. Matthew Gonsalves. Last moment, a great defensive play.
We cannot get the shot off.
It was a good play, but I wanted to see if maybe Gonsalves could have just taken that on one time on his left foot. I understand if it's not his preferred foot, but I want to see if he could just maybe do that one time.
We've seen Bjorgolfsson now already with a couple of pretty passes. He was involved in the Adams build-up that time, feeding Gonsalves. We know the big fella likes to score, but when he can be a difference maker feeding those attacking midfielders behind him, that's where we've seen this offense step it up.
He's just such a well-rounded forward. Like, he's a luxury to have, especially in this type of system, you know. And when you have players like Gonsalves and Adams and Comby, these players with lots of pace and good technical skills, you know, it's not that Bjorgolfsson doesn't have the technical skills, but when you have two defenders marking him and he still wins it and can bring it down, then, you know, literally get the pass on, it's a terror to defend.
It is looking like the Rush are going with that 3 at the back, 2 wing backs, 2 central midfielders look. Saad Faiz is playing as, I think, the number 10 behind Lachelle and Smith, the 2 up top. This is Jimmy Knoll. He's been playing that right wing back side. Messer for Bozalongo to William and Mary Tribe connecting. Comby opens his stride. 10 minutes into the first half, Vermont Green scored in the 19th second on Charlie Adams' second tally of the season. Ferreira, Messer, and Bozalongo. Both Messer and Bozalongo, second-team All-CAA members this season for William and Mary. No Diba Nwegbo today, Vermont Green's leading scorer. He's another part of that William and Mary contingent. But we've seen the Vermont Green offense, even without Diba, find early success. Messer on a fortunate bounce. Pretty slide tackle. Lucas Watt breaks up the rush.
Speaking with Adam, it sounds like Nwegbo and O'Malley are just kind of, you know, being rested a little bit, just getting their legs back. They've got a game probably coming right up on.
Oh, Gonsalves rings the post out of nowhere. Matthew Gonsalves, a screamer, almost made it 2.
Out of nowhere, too.
Yeah, just cut in middle, found space, and ripped it. And here's Charlie Adams. Green attacking again. It's Comby! Save made by Joyce. What a denial. Jimmy Joyce just robbed Ryan Comby.
Absolutely brilliant save by the goalkeeper.
Jimmy Joyce, his first name is James, goes by Jimmy, was the starter at Holy Cross this year. Through 18 games there, he made 43 saves, going with a record of 7-7-3. That was a big-time stop.
He's keeping them in it right now. You know, he had no business making that save, but yet he did. He's keeping his team in it. 3
big chances. One has found the back of the net for the green. Gonsalves ringing the post and Comby being robbed. The build-up beginning again. Ferreira over the top. Gonsalves. Flag is up. Offsides on Matthew Gonsalves.
But again, our midfield is now, you know, we're 12 minutes in. They're starting to find some more rhythm. They're starting to link up the play. 1, 2, 3s everywhere. And then all of a sudden that, you know, 30-meter ball just either over the top or wide, and we're already getting in.
It did feel like, despite the Vermont Green Hurley goal, Matt, that they kind of had to grow into the first 10 minutes. They never really were stringing together any possession.
From my experience, when I've played in matches and that happens, funny enough, this is going to sound weird, it rattles you a little bit. You're like, well, what? We just scored in 20 seconds?
We didn't expect to do that.
Well, I guess we'll go get a second now.
I suppose. Messer there. O.J. Smith was chasing. Room for Adams.
He's having a good match already.
We've been impressed by him pretty much every time he's been out there.
Yep, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far.
The right back, Lilly, drops it back for Comby.
And here's, kind of the difference when we were talking about Blackwatch playing with 5 potentially at the back and versus us with, a traditional kind of 4 at the back. It's very difficult if you can't get a hold of the ball in the midfield for your backs to actually join into the attack, into possession for it. And whilst we are dominating the ball, we're having more of the ball, our backs are being able to find isolated moments out wide to actually get into the attack. And it gets very difficult to break that down if you're Blackwatch in this scenario.
That's Ferreira weaving easily through the midfield. We've seen him and Bozalongo on the ball a ton. As now Adams towards Gonsalves. Pretty first touch, just too much on it. Joyce was there to scoop it up. But we've barely seen the 2 central midfielders for Blackwatch, Desjardins and Maxon. They've barely been on the ball at all, and I think that proves that point.
Yep, they haven't been able to get a sniff of the ball just yet.
Physical play as O'Neal tangles with Maxon. Messer. O'Neal working into the midfield. Mark O'Neal, a bit of skill. Ashford. Over the top, Bjorgolfsson. Yeah, flag was up. I thought that was going to go up all the way. I don't think Bjorgolfsson was quite ready for that long ball from Ashford.
I didn't have my eye on him. It looked, for some reason, it looked like he was coming from behind, so I'm going to trust you.
It was just kind of, like you said, he was coming from behind. I think he'd made a run earlier when Messer was on the ball, and then when it was never quite delivered, he drifted off sides.
Gotcha.
Knoll trying to switch the play. Lilly rises up. Down the line, room to chase it. Cross knocked away by Ashford, and another Rush corner kick upcoming. The lead feels bigger than just one, but the Rush are just one moment away from equalizing still into the 16th minute. And we've seen both sides come close at different moments.
Right now I'm looking at our goalkeeper to command this corner right here. This is something that I always criticize goalkeepers, is either anywhere within that 6, go and get it.
Right towards that edge of the 6. Ashford rises up and got his forehead to it. In fact, it was Ashford and Messer who got tangled up going up for that ball. Nobody on Rush was anywhere near the target. O.J. Smith. Bozalongo on the tackle. He and Smith tangled up. And Messer with the loose change. Adams. Ferreira.
It's a good switch of play.
That's pretty through pressure, but Lilly has a missed touch. Drops it back for the Rush. Oh, a giveaway. Bjorgolfsson ends up the benefactor. Scoops it for Adams. It's Charlie Adams again. Adams! And again, Joyce lays out to get his fingers to it. Charlie Adams.
Look at that. The pass from Bjorgolfsson, though. The technique on that.
A little bit of a scoop from Bjorgolfsson. What do you mean by technique there? I mean, it's obviously something hard to pull off.
Just like it wasn't a pass on the ground or, with the outside of his foot. He scooped it up just because that was the moment that he had to actually try to get that assist for it. It had to actually scoop over those two.
That was a great look right there, and Adams with the good first touch. Joyce ends up making the stop. Not sure if it would have been on target or not. Adams, though, hunting for an early brace. In the end, Ashford did surrender a corner kick going the other direction. Maxon gets the reception short and all the way back out for Jimmy Knoll. Something out of training there for the Rush. They had all their numbers forward and Knoll retreats.
They'll be disappointed, too, because they're starting to get a little bit more, up the field. They're starting to actually get chances. That's two corners, kind of back-to-back there.
Mm-hmm. And neither one of them turned into really any good looks towards goal.
Exactly.
Bozalongo gets it from Comby. Punches it back out for Ferreira. O'Neal. Plenty of room for Messer on the left. Last time you and I saw Nathan Messer, he was playing that left attacking midfield kind of winger position where this is Matthew Gonsalves is playing today. Messer back where we've seen him more often. Pretty back heel from Gonsalves. Messer turns the corner, cross towards Björgolfsson. Pops it up on the first touch. Bicycle kick cross, pinballing around, and it finally finds the feet of Ferreira. No, a handball was called in that mess going against the green. That would have been something.
I tell you what, though, Björgolfsson is having a really good time. He is enjoying his game lately, and especially right now.
Logan Drake drops it back for his keeper, Joyce. It's fun to watch Björgolfsson because he's clearly in that confident mood where he's willing to try anything.
Well, also what I'm noticing, between Gonsalves out at, left mid and Messer, both can play that position.
Yeah.
But I like Gonsalves actually at left mid. I'd like him more kind of as not the focal point, the spear point of our attack. I like Björgolfsson as this, personally, for me, how I like a system to play. I feel like Gonsalves just being, so technical but so fast. It's so dangerous when you're out wide in these 1v1 situations going to goal.
Messer clears the cross from Maxon. It falls. Block made. Smith puts it wide. He had Schnurr worried. O.J. Smith, who's got 3 goals on the year, sent Schnurr flying. Again, a bit of a nervy moment from the defense. Not a convincing clearance from Messer, and it falls kindly to Smith. A couple of those weird bounces now against the green. Certainly scared Schnurr at least.
Yeah, but again, Blackwatch should be doing better. They need to put that on target. That's it's kind of your third chance that you've had, yet you're still not getting the ball on target.
Yeah, both, as you said, really all 3 of their big chances. They've not forced Schnurr to get his hands on it.
Blackwatch are starting to press higher up. They're going to be a little bit thinner in the midfield. It's still going to look like we're going to have a lot more of the ball in the center of the field, but now they're starting to hold 2 players further up the field. They're trying to get as many chances as they can.
Acres of space for Comby. He can walk towards the 18. Lilly, high cross to the back post. Gonsalves is there, but the cross from Lilly errant. Goal kick for the Rush. You could just see when Comby got on the ball, all the room they're having centrally when they can work it outside and in.
Yep, you're going to see that more often, as Blackwatch try to hunt the game, hunt at least like an equalizer. There's going to be more space in behind, more space for our midfielders.
Smith from Lachelle, flag is up. Sure enough, Maxon was offsides. Good work from the green back line that time.
The referee, your linesman, says it's offside. Free kick to the green.
Ashford the man to take the free kick for the green, the captain who has started in every game this year. Captain consistent. He and Nathan Messer now the only 2 men as Messer chases it down along the sideline. The only 2 men who have started every game for the green. Pretty from Gonsalves. It's Adams racing forward. Björgolfsson in the middle. Charlie Adams had it run out in front. Comby, shot was blocked. Waiting there was Lavro Horvat. Still for Gonsalves. Gonsalves, save made by Joyce. They are peppering the net.
Goalkeeper's having a career day right now.
Already his third save after Vermont Green scored in the first 20 seconds. Great chances for Comby, Bjorgolfsson, Gonsalves.
But just like Blackwatch, who didn't put their chances away before, we need to put ours away. If we're gonna, if Vermont Green FC is gonna be looking towards the playoffs, they need to put this game to bed.
Lachelle from downtown, and Schnurr makes the stop. He paws it aside, and that's the worry for this Green team. They've had 3 different 1-0 leads this year, Matt, that have resulted in just 1 point. You look at the match against Seacoast that we had right here, led 1-0, ended up losing 2-1. They tied on the road against the Boston Bolts after leading 1-0. And most recently, they took the lead against Western Massachusetts, ended up losing 3-2. So this is, while you feel comfortable, far from a sure 3 points at this point. Corner kick intended for Faiz. And back out for another corner. Certainly, it's high alert right now for the Green, even though they've had so many scoring chances.
I think, you can kind of expect it a little bit too. When you start to get to this stage in a season and you start rotating your 11, it becomes just a tiny bit less familiar.
Ooh, off the bar from Maxon. It's his turn to hit the woodwork.
Knocking. But it becomes a little bit less familiar out there. When you, at the highest level, you'll see pretty much the same starting 11, barring everyone is healthy, week in, week out. And then when you start to rotate that around, it can kind of be expected that things get maybe a little bit shaky at times, and your shape is a little bit shaky.
Bombed away by Jake Ashford. He just wanted to get it out of his half of the field. Bozalongo and Messer. Again, Messer and Ashford have been the constants at the back as Messer gets around O.J. Smith. Now he attacks Jimmy Knoll. Still Messer, and he earns a corner. Great individual drive forward from Nathan Messer.
And that's the benefit of having, a Messer and Gonsalves out on the left is Gonsalves kind of pinches in at that moment to kind of give that space, that lane down the left side. And he knows that Messer is somebody who has played a lot of his game, in college and growing up as an attacking mid in that position.
It's been fun to watch those two working together down the left side. Alfredo Bozalongo to take the corner kick for the Green. Ashford and Bjorgolfsson the big targets. Towards the penalty area, that was Bjorgolfsson. A bicycle kick attempt. These boys love their bike tries. That was Lilly. And Bozalongo has that cross blocked by Knoll. He'll do it again.
Blackwatch Rush means it's a Vermont Green corner.
So 2 different bicycle kick attempts, huh?
They must be.
All right.
Is that something we're practicing, Coach Pfeiffer? We're going to have to ask him that.
Well, I'm here for it either way.
O'Neal came as a short option. Now he retreats. Bozalongo loading up for round 2. Ashford has been a weapon on these set pieces. Towards the near post. It's flicked on, but Lilly was late arriving. Garrett Lilly tracks it back down after it got a flick from Mark O'Neal. Lilly's cross is blocked, and it lands kindly to the feet of Lucas Watt. Launches long for Lachelle in a foot race with Messer.
It's not a race you're going to win often.
2 guys who I think both some confidence in their pace. Messer wins that foot race. Bjorgolfsson gets the feed from Comby, and a foul is called against Aitor Bjorgolfsson. Physical play, and he gets charged with that penalty.
Yeah, I think it was just, his arm extended, kind of pushing the player out of his way. You can't have it completely extended.
He does love using that left shoulder to just get into people.
His left shoulder, put it on his right foot.
Desjardins and Jimmy Knoll. Maxon the runner, that ball well too deep. O'Neal dealt with it. Maybe didn't need to as Maxon stopped his run.
Yeah, I think O'Neal would have preferred that Schnurr actually came out and commanded that and grabbed that.
O.J. Smith, Knoll, first time cross. Knoll to the back post. Faiz is waiting. Tracked down by the Moroccan, Saad Faiz. Back to the midfield for Watt. Decker. Ashford. Pinballing out of bounds off of Adams last. Maxon, who's just been everywhere, pushes it back to the Blackwatch defense. Logan Drake the long ball. Adams brings down the rebounds. Ooh. Just too much on the nutmeg of Watt.
Just a little too much, but I was starting to notice, taking a look at kind of our shape from there, we had kind of given up, 3 chances within, 6-7 minutes, something roughly like that. And it started to get a little shaky. I started seeing players kind of, having a little bit heated conversations with each other. And looking at just that series of possession from Blackwatch, I'm noticing that Vermont Green FC is very compact, and they're inside their own half right now. They're trying to lock that in right now. I think they'll probably maybe look a little bit more on the counterattack moving forward.
Leading 1-0 off of Charlie Adams' goal 19 seconds in. Packing in their defense a bit. Bozalongo contests with Maxon. Lilly finds Alfredo Bozalongo. That pass behind Adams. Decker, back for Drake. Wide for Knoll. Oh, he trips over the ball, allowing Gonsalves to close it down. Late tackle from Gonsalves. Pinballed wide from Maxon. Decker. Looks for the give and go with Faiz. Lilly is taken down. Physical play. Garrett Lilly ended up winning the ball and drew the foul. Comby coming centrally, gets it from Bozalongo. Now Lilly leaking down the right. Ferreira. Comby. There are those triangles you're always talking about, Matt. Pretty work through the midfield.
Well, I just seen Comby, come and check in for the ball, and it created the space for Lilly to move forward. And I saw Comby, he laid it off one time, but then I'm expecting Ashford to one time hit that ball forward for Lilly, and he didn't do it at that time. And it sort of tells me that they want to try to keep the ball, get a breath, get control of the match as much as they can. It's something that I'm just going to try to keep my eye on, but. They're there. Those chances are opening up.
Certainly. There's the left shoulder from Bjorgolfsson, holding off one man and taken down from behind.
A little bit heavy in the back there. Gives us a free kick on the halfway line. Come on, boys. Attack!
That's a big battle between Lavro Horvat, listed at 6'2", and Bjorgolfsson, also a 6'2" behemoth. Messer. O.J. Smith defending. Messer. Over the top of Bjorgolfsson. Nobody there at the back post. Bjorgolfsson again with the bicycle try. And that one came up too tall. It's going against Aitor Bjorgolfsson as he fouled. I believe that was Horvat in the middle.
So is there a running bet for somebody to get a bicycle kick goal?
Maybe some free Ben & Jerry's.
We'll have to ask. Free Ben & Jerry's ice cream cookie sandwich?
I guess.
God, those look good.
They did look good today, didn't they? First 500 fans got a free pints of ice cream from Ben & Jerry's who arrived today. One of the new partners with Vermont Green FC. Great to have them on board.
Folks, if there's any left over, Brian and Matt have not had one yet.
That's accurate and could use a cool down.
Yes.
It's a warm one today at Virtue Field.
That sun is right coming down now.
Like a 30-degree difference at least from last weekend when we were here.
Yes, it was.
Maybe even a bigger difference in temperature. Lachelle tries to zip across out wide for Maxon, who does run it down. Left-footed cross towards the back post, and nobody home for the rush. O.J. Smith, the only man pressuring. Ashford long for Comby, but the ball got redirected and finds Lachelle. Ferreira A clean takeaway, and Gonsalves with room in front. He's got Bjorgolfsson wide. It's Aitor Bjorgolfsson. Cuts to his right foot. It was knocked away by Knoll, and out for a green corner. Bjorgolfsson had his nose looking at cage.
And there's what, we were talking about earlier, is that link up between Gonsalves and Bjorgolfsson. That's something I think Adams sees a lot of danger in.
Bozolongo headed to the corner flag again. Let's see if he can pick out Ashford, who's got a pair of goals, both from set pieces, or Aitor Bjorgolfsson. They've had a couple of good looks from corner kicks early in the first half. Bozolongo on his left foot. Ashford went up for it, and it is off of Jake Ashford, goal kick.
But only finds the side netting, and it is now a goal kick for Blackwatch Rush.
It's a quick play out of the back. Looking to see if they can kind of catch us, just to, catch Vermont Green FC. Just a little bit out of shape for it, but it looks like a good recovery so far.
Ashford running away from Smith. Feeds Schnurr. And Bozolongo. O'Neill and Messer not on the same page, but Messer with good pace keeps it in play. Giveaway, though, as Knoll takes it away from Gonsalves on the ball down the line. Knoll. Gonsalves commits that foul. Just took one as Knoll was stampeding into the attacking end. This is Saad Faiz, a player for the Albany Great Danes. Faiz listed at 5'10" this season for Albany. He just scored 1 goal, had 1 assist, but he was on the America East All-Rookie team, a youngster for the Great Danes. Faiz went before our referee was ready, so we'll do it again. Again, something from training. He tried to play Knoll short.
Yeah, the first time around, it didn't look like Blackwatch were really lined up for kind of a deep cross from there.
Oh, it's bouncing around. In the end, Ashford ushers it wide. Finds Faiz, working around Messer. Messer goes down. Smith the shot. Ashford the block. O'Neill the header towards Gonsalves. Kept in by Noel.
Some kung fu fighting. That was a high kick coming in there as a defensive move.
Gonsalves still can't clear. It's Knoll. He and Messer bump into each other off of Knoll last, and in the end, it is a goal kick.
It's good defending at the end, but it looked a little bit last ditch for it. It's a little uncomfortable to see.
It is odd with so many of the same pieces we saw early in the season. The defense just doesn't quite seem to be on the exact same page we saw in some of those early matches.
It could be legs.
Sure.
It's a lot of minutes so far, and they've it catches up to you. Especially if you don't, maybe if you don't have your 2 center defensive mids kind of sitting as deep and as close to you, you don't want them to be too close to you because you need to get the ball out of the defense. But as of right now, yeah, they have some questions for themselves to answer, but they'll have to work it out in the locker room together.
Schnurr, pitching wedge wide for Messer.
Messer with acres of space down the left.
Bozolongo, pretty from Adams, back to Messer. Messer, Adams, pass just a bit behind him, but he reels it in. Messer invites Knoll to dance. Gets it off his foot, but turns it over to Watt. Wins it right back, and now Adams can race in. Charlie Adams on his left foot, crosses it to the middle, knocked around, bouncing into the hands of Joyce. Took a deflection off of Gonsalves last, but again, Charlie Adams creates a dangerous chance.
Adams, he's doing his job. He's creating chance after chance after chance, but, whoever's on the end of that, they have to put this ball in the back of the net.
I was interested how the offense would look today without Bilal Kamal. For the first time this year, Kamal not in the starting 11, but Adams playing that central position that we've seen Kamal occupy so effectively. Adams has really performed well centrally.
Yeah, Kamal was so consistently silky on the ball, creating lots of chances. He was so influential to so many goals that Vermont Green FC have had this seaon. But so far, from what I've seen from Adams, he's absolutely making a case for himself to start, this coming Saturday.
So many dudes that are potentially available for Vermont Green that can be good attacking options. It's been a bit like a puzzle for this coaching staff to find who works well when and who's available this match versus the next one. Messer for Gonsalves, and here they come again down the left. Gonsalves splitting the defenders, and finally a big right foot from Desjardins knocks it away from Gonsalves. Faiz dances around Ferreira. That pass behind Maxon, he goes up and brings it down. Faiz. Ferreira standing in front. Lachelle can't turn around Messer, and O'Neal scoops it up.
Good play from O'Neal. Win the tackle, play the simple ball, easy out.
Eventually, a Vermont Green throw, entering almost the 40th minute. And now a Rush player down behind the play. Didn't see anything occur there, but it looks like both sides will head to their sidelines, grab some water, as that is, I believe, Saad Faiz, one of the stars of this attack for Blackwatch Rush. That could change things in a big way, as he scored 3 of their 8 goals on the year.
I was going to say, I think he was definitely going to be probably their most influential player in this first half. So if he's out for the next one, that's going to be really bad for them.
1-0 Vermont Green as we are now into the 40th minute. Charlie Adams scored early on, both sides getting some water and some quick words of advice from the coaching staffs. Faiz getting his right leg stretched out, so hopefully just a cramp for him and he can continue. Matt, overall thoughts right now where we stand with a bit of break in the action?
Well, I was going to say, I think Adams, and his staff are talking to the players right now, and they're going to look at how much time is left in this half, and they'll have a different conversation at halftime. But right now, it's going to be about don't leak any goals before half. Mm-hmm. Keep this at 1-0. If you find yourself in a chance to make it 2-0, great, go for it, sink it. But otherwise, manage the rest of this half. Then we'll have another different conversation about how to manage the second half from there. Probably will, talk about being a little bit more adventurous, putting your goals away, kind of simple notes for there. But otherwise, I think that's going to be the resounding message for them.
There have been moments and bits of time where this team has struggled to manage matches, where they have given up early leads and allowed teams back in matches. Does that change with them here at home, though? You're playing in front of your home fans. What effect can that have on a side when you are playing in an area where you're familiar, trying to manage the game?
I don't think it's going to have an effect, us being at home, Vermont Green at home. It's going to be more so about that playoff conversation and where, they stand in the actual division right now. So I think it's still going to stand as keep the ball out of the net for the rest of the half, and then we'll have a different conversation at halftime.
Messer looking for his college teammate Bo Zalongo off the restart. It pops back towards Messer, and he finds Charlie Adams. Not enough mustard on the pass towards Messer, but he wins it back from Knoll. It's Messer to the end line, crosses it. Waiting there is Comby. Space for Comby. Shot was blocked by a defender towards Gonsalves, but Knoll takes it away. It's Ferreira's turn to push forward. He crashed into a Rush body. And Adams. Bjorgolfsson. Skill from Ferreira. Rodrigo Ferreira, the latest scoring look for the Green. This time it did not worry James Joyce, but again, Green dangerous in the final third.
Really good play from Bjorgolfsson, too. I saw him literally muscle to get to that ball just to lay it off to Ferreira, and then Ferreira takes that one touch to try to get it on his left foot, curl it into that post, just couldn't get enough.
The ball keeps finding Nathan Messer on the left. Adams goes around Lucas Watt. Lilly the cross. Behind Bjorgolfsson and ahead of Comby. Back out towards Garrett Lilly. And is that what card is that? Yellow card. Initially, that was a red card shown. I believe on accident, just the wrong card came out of the pocket. Now we've got the yellow on Lucas Watt. I started, oh my goodness, for a moment there.
I heard the crowd actually gasp, like, that is a harsh red. So
it goes on number 3, Lucas Watt, a Albany defender who's been playing centrally today for the Rush. And now the Rush do have a throw-in. So the first yellow card of the match, the third of the summer on Watt. It was on that tackle that came near midfield that took down Adams.
Playing especially in the center of the field where you're required to make a lot of tackles, and sometimes they're going to be last-ditch tackles. And once
it's Adams. Charlie Adams, a brace. Dances through the defense, and it's 2-0 Vermont Green. What a bit of skill from Charlie Adams.
Dancing through everyone just for that shot. Good for you, son.
This kid is in some type of form right now.
Right now, in this form, that's a little bit undroppable.
He is going to be in the lineup often. What a bit of dribbling skill. It was a string on his foot to get to his left-footed shot.
And it definitely, it comes from Blackwatch, right after the foul, getting the yellow card. You could kind of see everyone's shoulders were down a little bit. They were disorganized. And Adam said, you know what, if you're all not going to focus, I'm going to go straight to goal.
Charlie Adams certainly has been the best goal scorer of the day, obviously, as he's got a pair now. But he has just looked the most comfortable of anybody out there. And now the Green up by a pair into the 45th minute.
There's a few players that are making a case for themselves for man of the match right now. I think Adams absolutely on his goals and overall play. It's not just been his goals, but Gonzalez and Bjorgolfsson have both had arguably their own man of the match as well. It'll be difficult to kind of assign that to one of them.
They've all affected the game in different ways. Bjorgolfsson has played a big part in both of Adams' goals, helping the build-up play. As here's Charlie Adams again. Is he feeling himself or what? Charlie Adams cuts it back and finds Messer. Numbers in the box for Messer. He and Knoll have been going shoulder to shoulder, and this time it is Knoll who wins the battle.
They've had a good battle this match. They've been entertaining to watch. Yeah. They've been going at each other a lot, but
Knoll has given Messer just about all he can handle, and vice versa the other way. Two skilled players down this near side.
Well, even if you were, say, watching Knoll and you're saying, well, they're getting lots of chances or space down the left for it, he has been getting doubled up a lot. He hasn't gotten a lot of help necessarily from his defense or his midfield in the right moments. It's a little bit too late, and it's already in the 18 for it, but he's dealt with it, as one can do versus usually two, and he's still managing to get forward. He's still being the ones that is actually getting crosses and creating chances. So I think he's been, Blackwatch is one of their outstanding players too in this half.
A pair of Charlie Adams goals has Vermont Green up by a pair, nearing the end of half number 1. Comby brings it down. All sorts of room to the near side if it can be switched. Bozalongo through for Gonsalves, and out comes Joyce. Comby looking for Cage. Ryan Comby! Oh my goodness, what a stop! Oh, Jimmy Joyce, a denial of Comby. What an attempt from Comby, and what a recovery from Joyce.
What an absolute save. Again, making saves that he generally has no business making from there. And hats off to Comby. I mean, that is as perfect as you could probably hit it. But, Joyce is he's warmed up.
Standing ovation here from the crowd, I think both for the Vermont Green play and for the effort of Joyce. First, he took it away from Gonsalves, too, who looked to be in on goal, and then recovered enough to race back from outside his 18 on Comby's chip attempt. Bozalongo into a dangerous spot. Ashford went down, and then two Green collided. Out for a goal kick for the Rush.
No, and I understand that, it's 2-0, and how could you say, the goalkeeper's having a good match? It's like the two goals were driven low and hard right next to the post. Those are technically, almost textbook unsavable.
Yep.
Most goalkeepers don't make those, and those are the only two that he wasn't able to make. But otherwise, he's been outstanding for them this half.
I mean,
he's done his job.
He's made, I believe by my count, 5 first-half saves. 3 of them were really acrobatic, leaving his feet and highlight reel.
Yep, he's done his job this half.
Pretty first touch from Decker. He crosses it, but Ashford's there. Waiting in the middle was Lachelle, and that is the final act of the first 45. Charlie Adams the brace. Vermont Green up by a pair. We'll have a halftime report for you in just a bit. Brian McLaughlin and Matt Montel with you. Vermont Green up by 2 at the half. Back at Virtue Field, it's halftime between Vermont Green and Blackwatch Rush. Brian McLaughlin here with Matt Montel. Matt, an exciting first half, but Charlie Adams steals the show. 2 first-half goals for the Vermont native. Walk me through what you saw on the 2 beautiful goals from Adams.
I mean, I saw, really what I first saw was Bjorgolfsson taking down the ball for the first one and then feeding it right in from him. And it was a cultured and weighted, shot. He didn't rush the shot. You can see right here, Gonsalves wins the ball. Bjorgolfsson lays it off, holds it, slots it home, right between the 2 players.
A beautiful goal from Adams to get the scoring started as Vermont Green had the early 1-0 lead just 19 seconds in, and then Matt, the second goal comes late in the first half, and it's Adams again.
Second goal, what I see is right after that yellow card to the center mid for Blackwatch, it looked like Blackwatch had kind of just, they had forgotten that they still had to finish out the rest of the half. And Comby feeds it in for Adams. Adams says, you know what, I'll take on 3 players. I'll slot it home. Down to the right.
But that wasn't all that was exciting in the first half. Maybe the moment of the half came late.
Oh.
The ball finds Ryan Comby after a great defensive play initially by the Rush goalie, Jimmy Joyce. Comby sees the net wide open, and he's going to have a go, but the recovery from Joyce, something special.
I mean, like I said, you can see the score line of 2-0. Oh, here we go.
We are in the middle of a climate crisis.
And it's a great strike from Comby. I mean, Comby does everything that he's supposed to do, and that's going in. But Joyce, like I said, he's actually been on fire. I know that the scoreline reflects 2-0, but he is making save after save that he has no business technically making.
2-0 is the score. Vermont Green leading Blackwatch Rush. But, Matt, we've seen them struggle with leads at times. What's the message in the locker room right now from this Green coaching staff holding the 2-goal lead?
I think, any coach, especially any coach worth his salt, is not going to tell you to not go and have an attempt on goal. Don't try, nobody's going to say don't try to go get that 3rd goal. I think Adam is going to absolutely say, listen, you guys look dangerous going forward. Keep that up, but let's not give away any sloppy goals. He was a little frustrated with the last 2 matches and giving up some of those late goals, especially, the 3-2 loss from that. I think that's going to be his biggest focus is let's finish out the rest of this next 45. Go get your 3rd goal if you want it, but no sloppy goals.
I know you love the connection between the defensive midfielders and the back 4. What are you going to be watching specifically with those 2 defensive midfielders sitting in front of the back line?
I think, you'll probably see a lot of moments where it might just be 2 of them sitting a little bit deeper, especially if it looks like, Vermont Green is actually getting an attempt on goal and maybe the ball's pinging around in the 18 for it. They might not be as close to the 18 for the shot. One of them might say, I'm going to sit a little bit deeper just in case, and especially because Blackwatch is now down 2-0. So they have to go for it. So it might look like, them holding 3 players up into the attack and trying to get that counter or break up and win the ball high up. So I could see like a Pacella or Ferreira sitting deeper in this second half more often.
2-0 the score. It's a gorgeous night in Burlington, Vermont. This has been the halftime report. 45 minutes, and Vermont Green looking for the full 3 points when we return. Back at Virtue Field in Burlington, Vermont, 45 minutes in the books. Vermont Green FC with a pair of Charlie Adams goals in front 2-0 against Blackwatch Rush. Brian McLaughlin and Matt Montel with you, Matt. Looking at the first half, we just broke a lot of it down at halftime, but you mentioned to me as well just that midfield play when Blackwatch was starting to get some good looks, some good possession. They had a couple of corners. Vermont was really able to figure things out in the middle of the field.
Yeah, and I think, what we'll likely see is it's 2-0 right now, so Blackwatch has to go forward. And when they did that in the first half, Vermont Green didn't necessarily take a hold of the center of the field when there was more space in behind that attack. And that was kind of something that you would see adjusted a little bit towards the end of the first half. In this, I'm expecting to see the game a little bit stretched for Blackwatch, at least within their shape, And I think there's going to be a lot more space in the middle, which I think Vermont Green FC should be taking advantage of. And B, I think there's also going to be space in behind.
No substitutions at the half for either side. Vermont Green will start with it. This is Charlie Adams standing over the ball right now. And I mean, Charlie Adams, who's making just his second start for Vermont Green, but he's got 3 goals for this side, 2 in the first half today. Quite the performance from this attacking group for the Green. Adams leading the way, as well as Aitor Bjorgolfsson with the pairing of Matthew Gonsalves and Ryan Comby as well. Vermont Green controlling the scoreboard at least through 45 minutes, looking for what I think you and I both would consider a must-get 3 points today, as Vermont Green taking on one of the teams near the bottom of the Northeast Division at the USL2 level.
Yep, this has to be absolutely 3 points at this stage, and you're in good form. They're looking in good form. That you have to walk away with 3 points for this match.
Bjorgolfsson, physical play immediately. That's just what he does. And he's taken out from behind. That was a dangerous tackle from Lavro Horvat. Horvat went through Bjorgolfsson, and now those two exchanging some words. That was a foul to me that we could have seen a card come out of the pocket. Nothing, just a warning at this point from our official. Bozolongo to take a free kick. Bozolongo in the direction of Bjorgolfsson, nodded out of the air by Drake. And now it's Green who are a bit stretched. Over the top for O.J. Smith, he and Messer. Smith stops the ball, waiting in the middle, Lachelle, and Messer ends up coming away with it.
Very good defending from Messer. It's somebody much bigger than you and equally as fast, got onto the ball as well, but held his ground, waited for the tackle. Got his body in front, got the ball.
Looked like patient defending.
Yep.
He could have taken an earlier tackle and waited for the right moment.
If you're not patient too, when players aren't patient, you see them go to ground. They say, okay, I'm gonna smash the ball as hard as I can, and that'll be good enough. Not at this level.
Not at this level. Pretty play from Messer. It's a free kick though the other way, going with the Rush. A team at 1-5-1. Their only win came against Pathfinder FC, a team that is winless on the season. And the tie results that got them 1 point for this Rush squad came in their season opener against AC Connecticut. And here's Charlie Adams again. Unselfish for Comby, and the save made by Joyce down to his right.
I think Comby, he wanted to place that in that far post, low, but and opted for the inside of his foot, not the laces.
Maxim had the ball drift too far in front of him. Back for Lilly and the Green. But again, it was the playmaking of Adams feeding Comby for that shot. I think the selfish thing there is for Adams to go for the hat trick. Bjorgolfsson, Bozolongo, and Comby.
Right now.
Go ahead, Matt.
Oh,
sorry.
I was going to say, right now, Brian, I can't seem to take my eye off Bjorgolfsson and the number 5, who is essentially been marking him the closest. They're their biggest center defender. They've had a lot of words from that initial kind of foul in the back, and there's been a little, hand slapping, a little getting chippy for it, and I'm waiting to see kind of if there's a little bit of someone's loss of their head.
That's Horvat. Those two big bodies, both listed at 6'2". That time Decker cleared away the cross from Messer. Definitely will be interesting to monitor those two, as it has been Bjorgolfsson and Horvat who've been jockeying all evening. Oh, and Lachelle draws the foul with Ashford. Lachelle then tried to play it quickly, and Ashford and Ferreira say not so fast.
Green gives
That's some of that game awareness we talked about with Adam earlier, not allowing the quick free kick.
Yep, and even, Ferreira, they still had the chance to take it. Ferreira's just like, nope, I'm just going to stand right in front of this. That allows everyone to get back into their shape, into defense. Now they're set.
We'll be, I think, talking a lot about game management here in the second 45 minutes. Maxim. Ashford goes up and gets it. Lilly can't hook it clear around Decker, but it is out for the green throw.
This is a tough place to play it out of the back as well. Right here, and I think they're going to go straight for Bjorgolfsson and see if he can lay it off to somebody underneath him and then look for that switch of play.
Lilly, there's Bjorgolfsson. Nodded off the back of Bjorgolfsson. Oh, it almost fell kindly for Bozolongo. In the end, Ferreira lassos it in.
That's what we call
and a pretty switch of play. Ferreira out wide with Messer and Bozolongo.
That's coaching. That's a sign of good coaching staff when, your team can actually play out of those very tight spaces like that one time.
Maxon, after a poor touch, spins away from Gonsalves. Jimmy Knoll. Popped sideways from Ashford for Lilly. That's over the top. Gonsalves chasing, and it bounces into the hands of Joyce. What are your thoughts on Garrett Lilly so far today, Matt? It's his first start and first really significant action we've seen from him playing this right back position, filling in for Owen O'Malley.
I think it's been, in a good way, quiet. It has, you haven't seen a lot of fuss out of him. He hasn't made any, crucial mistakes or anything. He's had good positioning. He's been putting in good tackles. I think he's just played more as a defender. His game has been more defensively focused than, say, maybe a Messer. With a Messer, does a good job as a defender, and I think he's great, but I think he's, almost better as an attacking,
He's at his best looking for goal.
Exactly. And I think that's the difference between Lilly and Messer.
Totally. That's, I think, an apt comparison. Ball ended up bouncing off of Adams towards Comby, and here's Adams on the turn. He's got that left foot, forces Joyce into the save. A bit of an apology there after the shot from Adams. I think Bjorgolfsson wanted it centrally. Adams took the rip, and the save was made by Joyce.
Let's see the hat trick made.
Gonsalves battling with Knoll. A real battle, and the foul goes against Jimmy Knoll. Bozolongo. Messer coming centrally. Angles it back for Bozolongo. The two William and Mary players again connecting. Bozolongo gets tackled down, and it pops back to him from his midfield partner, Ferreira. Gonsalves. Spinning sideways by Knoll. Messer not on the same page with Bozolongo that time.
No, but what you're already seeing is a little bit more of a patient build-up. I've seen maybe one direct ball that went for Gonsalves, but otherwise, what I just saw was, all right, let's just chip away at this clock throughout this half and see if we can just link up some plays, get some rhythm going. I think that's what we'll probably see more often in this second half.
Playing out of the back now, Green have had possession for almost the entirety of the second stanza so far. Mark O'Neill drifting wide. Nathan Messer driving centrally. This is a bit different from Messer. Still Nathan Messer, and he gives it up to Bjorgolfsson. Aitor Bjorgolfsson. Joyce the save. Rebound not there. He snatches it away from Lilly. Again, Jimmy Joyce robbing the Green of a beautiful goal.
I have to ask, for Jake Messer, other than being young, what do you eat before a match? The man has such an engine on him.
He is fantastic, and that's one of the best drives with the ball on his feet that we've seen him with this season. That was probably the best goal-scoring chance for Bjorgolfsson today outside of his one wild bicycle kick attempt.
Yeah, I think he just won it on his right foot, but you know what? I respect anybody that takes a shot on their weak foot when they have it.
And it was a still pretty strong effort. Put it on net. That's all you can ask for with that weaker foot. Wide from Desjardins. Knoll advances for Lucas Watt. Had it tackled away from him, and the Green find possession. Gonsalves tripped up, and that's surely a foul. Jimmy Knoll, the one who commits it.
I'm a little surprised because it's a cynical foul, too, and that generally those would call for a yellow card, but I'm not the referee.
Everybody back to their feet. That was, as you said, cynical, surely to stop the Green counterattack. Gonsalves is fun to watch when he's in that transition moment because he is so quick with that pace. He can take the ball and just go. And now another foul. This one's surely a yellow.
Yeah, second, back-to-back fouls for it. Referee has to show the yellow now.
And this time it was a much more physical confrontation as Knoll and Gonsalves.
But in Knoll's defense, Gonsalves is so fast that Knoll is actually just trying to kind of stay tight to him a little because Knoll's fast himself, but Gonsalves is so fast and so kind of tricky to mark that he's just running into Knoll, and Knoll's like, what am I supposed to do?
And then it was Aitor Bjorgolfsson who quickly went over to Knoll and said, hey, man, that's your second in a row. And so Bjorgolfsson actually gets a warning involved in there as well. But that was, I think, the initial reaction from Knoll, like, man.
What do you want me to do about this?
Exactly. Ashford creeping up for the Green. Bozolongo putting it in the mixer. It was Ashford who rose up for it. Or, excuse me, that was Gonsalves who went above the pack and got his noggin to it. Never quite threatened the net of Joyce, but a good look for Gonsalves.
But to go back to your point, what have I thought about Gonsalves in this match so far from what I've seen is I like him so much more out left when he has more space to run at you. I mean, right away, what we're just talking about is how many problems he's causing for a player like Knoll, and he's creating chances. He's had shots. This is all you can ask for out of your attacking mids.
And one of our big questions coming in: how would he look alongside Aitor Bjorgolfsson? They have played together once before, but you and I were unable to watch that match because there wasn't a stream of it. So we were very curious. What would that look like? Well, I think despite their very obvious differences in style, they fit well next to each other.
Yeah, a player like Gonsalves versus a player like Bjorgolfsson, they're both going to actually provide for each other more than you think with how different they are. Gonsalves with his pace and his speed and his passing, and that dribbling to create these chances, but then Bjorgolfsson be able to be physical, take the ball down, and then find players that with all that speed like Gonsalves.
Bozolongo playing quarterback. He elects to swing it wide for Messer. Messer loves that left foot, can put it on a platter just in front of Bjorgolfsson through the 6-yard box, and it finds Maxson on the far post. Comby loses out to Decker. O.J. Smith. He and Ashford pretty back heel, and Decker punches forward, but Ferreira recovers.
It's outstanding play by Ferreira because that was turning into a 2v1 very quickly.
Talk about a guy with kind of a quiet game. That is Rodrigo Ferreira. Ferreira, the Portuguese international, plays for Franklin and Pierce.
You watch players like Toni Kroos, you almost don't notice him for a while, and then all of a sudden, Real Madrid is up 2-0.
There's a
all
reason.
Because of him.
There's a reason. Messer. Big bodies in front of him, so he drops for Gonsalves. There's the quiet man, Ferreira. Bozolongo. Well read by Maxson. Hooked wide towards Messer from Bozolongo. Those two left-footed men combining. Give and go back to Messer. Messer with Bjorgolfsson there. Too much on the cross, and nobody arriving at the back post. It's Drew Decker up the line for O.J. Smith. And Ashford there waiting. No fuss about Mr. Ashford. Charlie Adams. We've seen him turn this into a goal before.
somebody's body language that I'm starting to notice already in the second half is Faiz. His shoulders are kind of slumped. I've watched players long enough to notice when they're getting really annoyed of how little the ball that they've had.
How about Adams? Right across the face of goal. Charlie Adams just out in front of Bjorgolfsson, and not quite enough angle on it to put it on net. But again, the danger. And now a trio of subs for the Green. And a quadruple number of subs, 4 subs coming on for the Rush.
It looks like it's going to be Kumbi.
O'Malley is coming on. So is Bilal Kamal, and I believe that's Joe Morrison.
Yeah, Adams is coming off as well.
So Adams for Morrison, or Adams for Kamal, excuse me.
Yep.
Morrison for Comby, and O'Malley for Nathan Messer. O'Malley will play left back. Lilly stays in at the right side. And we've got subs as well coming in for a moment from Blackwatch Rush. O'Neal plays it out with O'Malley now his partner at left back. 3 midfielders have come on for Blackwatch Rush. Garrett DeRoja, Harry Soderlund, and Joseph DePreta, while they've added 1 defender to their mix in Cullen Sweat.
It's a difficult ask, too, to bring a defender 60 minutes in when, the other team is having a lot of the ball, a lot of, the possession, getting attacking chances frequently, and you have to kind of come in. You can't come in cold. You have to come in ready to do your job at 100% for it. So it's probably my least favorite position to watch somebody come in cold.
Well, it's interesting how they're going to adjust. I think they're going to a more 4 at the back situation now as Lucas Watt was substituted out.
Well, they also have not dominated the middle of the field at all, Blackwatch, in the second half. So maybe that's where, the coaching staff sees, okay, we need to put at least 3 in the center of the field.
Also headed to the sideline for Rush, Nicholas Desjardins, so he's a midfielder that's out. O'Malley getting warned after that free kick. So Watt exits, as does Desjardins. O.J. Smith also leaving the match, and Logan Drake. So a pair of defenders exit. 3 midfielders come on. We'll see how that affects the look for Rush. Trailing by a pair, we knew they would be making a bunch of changes in the second half, as O'Malley did pick up a yellow card in that exchange. Poor free kick, though. Gonsalves sniffed it out easily. Part of that game management, minute management, player management for this coaching staff at this point in the match. 3rd and 7 days for Vermont Green. They know there are some guys with tired legs battling bumps and bruises. Matthew Gonsalves, not one of the ones with tired legs, though. Down the line for Aitor Bjorgolfsson. He gets there at the same time as Slavro Horvat. Those two have not gotten along this evening in the foul called on Bjorgolfsson.
No, they've had a lot of hands and words this whole match, and when you're a center back and you've got a guy like Bjorgolfsson doing that, you're down 2-0, and he's pushing you around, and he's chirping at you, he's saying a couple things just to get under your skin for it. It's just going to happen.
Pretty much official warning there against Bjorgolfsson. It falls to Morrison. He elects to go with Gonsalves. Gonsalves the step over, and Matthew Gonsalves makes it 3-0. The Cornell man, Matthew Gonsalves, gives Vermont Green their first goal of the second half. The pretty step over and left foot finish just gets by James Joyce.
Nothing incredibly profound to talk about. It was before that, what we're seeing as the goal was it was a cheap giveaway, and right into the center of the field. I mean, an absolute terrible place to give away the ball, especially out of the back from there when, you're overloaded. And there was 4 players going forward, and, great, not taking away any credit from Gonzalez. That was a great finish, but, that made it, Blackwatch made it as easy as it could have been. And now you've managed the match.
Yes.
You are up 3-0. You're at the 64th minute. Manage the rest of this match.
Vermont Green perhaps preparing a few more substitutions. Next up, after 3 days off, they once again host Boston City FC on Saturday, and that is going to be a massive match. Assuming Vermont Green holds on for the full 3 points here tonight, all of a sudden, playoff picture is coming clearer and clearer, and Boston City FC stands ahead of Vermont Green. Well, at this point, they've played 2 more matches than the Green. They've got 21 points through 10 matches, while if this result holds, Vermont Green at 16 points through 9. So 2 teams that are fighting for that third-place position could be matching up on Saturday. Attention starting to turn there as Vermont Green has extended their lead.
I think we can expect another packed house, whole town show up.
I think we might. It has been a great crowd tonight. Now enjoying the shade as the sun has set over Lake Champlain.
Goal scorer for the first 2 goals, Charlie Adams. Let's give him a hand. On for number 11, Bilal Kamal, who is looking hungry. And finally, off number 17, Ryan Comby, on for 0, Owen Green.
Morrison gets it from Bozalongo. But Morrison turns it back over in the midfield. There's Fies dancing through. In the end, Morrison knocks it free towards Gonsalves.
One of the things that I really like about, Kamal and Morrison and Comby and Gonzalez and Messer and, so many of these attacking players in this, Vermont Green team is they're so versatile. They're so fluid. Like, Morrison is not going to just sit out on the right. You're going to see Kamal and them exchange and Gonzalez exchange with them, and that just makes it so tough to mark.
Towards Kamal, over the top, and out of the cage comes Joyce. Couple of more subs coming on for Rush. Sekou Mate, another forward, enters. And I believe James Hypshire as well. Waiting on that confirmation. Yes, both Hypshire and Mate on for the Rush. 2 attacking-minded players. You can see them playing up top in their formation at the moment. So a change in the attack for Steve Freeman's squad of the Rush. And now as we say that, a couple of Vermont Green subs preparing to enter.
Yeah, it's looking, from what I can tell, that, and in moments, it's looking like a 4-4-2. And I think those 2 that you were just mentioning that were just coming on for it, they're both going to try to give, the Vermont Green back line something to think about.
This is Mate. Drops it back for Dylan Maxon, but it's knocked away from him.
I'm sorry, we're not open.
Much to the applause of this home crowd. Now the Green will substitute. Rodrigo Ferreira looks to be heading off. And Daniel Pacella comes in. So Pacella on for Ferreira. That's a like-for-like position switch. And I believe that is Carter Bayou. Bayou enters at the back for Jake Ashford. So the Vermont Green captain exits. Some minute management, load management for 2 of Vermont Green's more dependable defenders after they got that 3rd goal.
Yeah, I think Creighton's coaching staff, who I believe are here watching this match, will probably appreciate that. Can you take care of my boy and make sure that he doesn't pick up too many unnecessary injuries? You're up 3-0 right now.
So Carter Bolia is the center back alongside another Creighton man, Mark O'Neill. As you said, Matt, Johnny Torres, Creighton's head coach, is in the building, watching with a couple of the other Blue Jays that aren't in action. Miguel Ventura, one of them, who's not on tonight's roster.
He's got to like what he's seen, though, from Ashford this season and his performances. I understand that we had mentioned that, okay, like in very recent that there had been some sloppy goals leaked, but you don't just nail those right on to the center back. Is that, their fault? They're pretty much the last in line to deal with it. So it's, unless you're just giving it away as a center back, it's not really entirely your fault. But otherwise, he's had a really, really good season, and he's going to have, I feel like he's going to have a great season back at his college program.
I would have to imagine that Jake Ashford primed for a big season, maybe amongst others. Mark O'Neill there, another Creighton Blue Jay, Owen O'Malley, Nathan Schnurr starting in cage. And then Miguel Ventura, who we talked about earlier, not in action tonight, but Ventura has been playing centrally. He's more naturally a left back. Part of that whole Creighton group, have been impressive. This is O'Malley on the throw-in. Bolia for Lilly. As we've entered the 71st minute, final 20 here from Virtue Field. Now the Green clearly going into a bit of cruise control mode, just trying to take some of the clock out of this one. Bozalongo, who's now wearing the captain's armband. What a switch of play that is. Gonsalves brings it down, but can't free up O'Malley. Knoll knocked it off of Gonsalves and feels the pressure from Kamal. Harry Soderlund backwards for Horvat.
Gonsalves still putting in a shift, too. 70 minutes in, he's done a lot of running in this match. He's done, trying to create and get on the end of the ball, but, coming back, doing his defensive duties. That's what you want to see out of a player, especially, okay, yeah, we're up 3-0 for it. It's like I said, we got to manage this match, and it takes everybody to do it.
The second half has felt much more controlled than the first.
I think this is exactly what Adam and his staff, would have been asking of them at, in the locker room at halftime. Look for these moments to just eat away that clock. Go get the third goal, but this, from what we're seeing right now, it doesn't look rushed at all, to try to go get in a fourth and get greedy, trying to maintain possession of the ball, eat away at the clock.
Joe Morrison and Gonsalves, despite all that running, still looks fresh. He and Knoll going shoulder to shoulder.
1,233. Big hand for all of you. Thank you for coming out this evening. Sorry for the confusion, but big up yourself.
Tonight's attendance just announced, 1,243 fans this evening. Another great crowd here in Vermont. That was a bit of a miscommunication as Bolia let it roll right through the sixth. I think he was expecting Nathan Schnurr to come out and grab it. This is Bolia, who plays collegiately in the America East at Binghamton. Pacella. O'Neill. Bozalongo with a man on his back. That's Maxon.
It's got to be a really good touch out of there. Pretty much going into like what you saw is just a triangle of blue right in front of the net for it. You got to have a perfect touch just to play out.
I know you love that number 6 position. Vermont Green has 3 really good players in that spot, in Ferreira, Pacella, and Bozalongo.
I don't, see like any drop-offs, so to speak, necessarily when any of them play versus the other ones.
O'Malley, the crowd urging him to shoot. Feeds Lilly instead. Back for O'Malley and Bjorgolfsson bouncing around and just wide of the net. Bodies on the turf. Ball was careening everywhere. And the rush to just enough to keep it out in the end. Here's a look at it, Matt. There's O'Malley laying it off.
Oh, again, I think it's Joyce that gets a hand to it at the very end for it. First, got knocked to ground on the first one and then gets a hand.
Just did enough to take it off of O'Malley's foot. Owen O'Malley, a fan favorite. The crowd was urging him to shoot. Bozalongo to the back post. Header right into the hands of Joyce.
Good hands by Joyce, though. Directly right at him, but good hands.
He's probably been the most impressive player for Rush.
Yeah. It's not always a good thing if it's your goalkeeper, though.
That's a very good point.
Do you remember De Gea, for United for a couple years?
Yeah.
Getting man of the season. That's not a good thing.
Don't always want that.
No.
You love when your goalie's playing well, but you
need
like
everyone else to do it at the same time.
You like when it's a quiet playing well, not like showing up quite like this. Here's Bilal Kamal. Bjorn Gulfson with Decker beating him there. And that's a foul going against Aitor Bjorgolfsson. Decker just barely had the step on it. That's Carter Bolia shouting out instructions from his central back post. First appearance of the year for Bolia, but he's showing just how vocal you need to be even coming off the bench. That's a poor tackle from Morrison, and he knows it. Yellow card immediately out of the pocket as he took down Drew Decker. Certainly late, certainly worthy of that yellow.
Yeah, it's almost 2 feet, too, Referee has every right to show yellow for that. Referees had a good match.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'd like to give out the officiating crew a shout-out for doing a very good job.
It's been solid, I think. We have not had any reason to discuss that performance on either side.
Well, the center ref had, what I consider a good match done by the officiating crew, especially the center ref, is I don't really want to know you're there much.
Totally.
Like, you're just supposed to quietly kind of deal with the match and officiate it, make sure things don't boil over. And the center ref has actually let it play out a few times, giving players a chance to be like, all right, you've done 2 now, 2 egregious maybe or a little over-the-top fouls, and then come in with the yellow. And that is what I consider, really mature, good officiating.
A bit of a nick on the far side of the field. Lavro Horvat having to limp off the sideline, holding the back of his right leg. So that's why we have a bit of a delayed start here into the 77th minute.
That's not good either, too. If you go down without any contact and you're holding the back of your leg, that
feels like a hamstring.
Yeah, you're looking out. Hamstring is a minimum, 3 weeks, I'm pretty sure.
Hopefully for his sake, it's not as bad as it could look there. He did walk off under his own power. Strong defending from Lilly. His clearance only makes it as far, though, as Garrett DeRoja. Knoll. Early ball towards the back post. Lilly goes up and beats anybody to it, to his collegiate teammate Joe Morrison. And that's a pretty pass forward for Bilal Kamal. Kamal with Bjorgolfsson to his right, uses him. And it's a poor first touch from Bjorgolfsson, but he ends up getting a corner out of it. After a bad first touch, Matt, that's good work to earn the corner.
Well, I was watching him, too. He was waiting, holding that line, trying to not be offside. Did a really good job of not getting offsides.
How hard is that to do?
It's very, very difficult, actually, especially if the back line. I don't know if Blackwatch, seeing how many goals they've given up this season, are trained on necessarily an offsides trap often. But, against a good back line that practices that's a very difficult thing to do.
So the corner for Green, taken by Alfredo Bozalongo. Now wearing the captain's armbands. Bozalongo. A look at the back post. That was Gonsalves who went up high for it. I tell you what, Matthew Gonsalves, listed at 5'9", he's got some bunnies too. He can get up there for a little guy.
Oh, yeah. I think that's he's had 3 attempts this match with his head.
Yeah, that's surprising to me. I mean, we know Ashford. We know Bjorgolfsson. All of a sudden, maybe another one of those targets on these set pieces is Matthew Gonsalves.
You know what? It's not fair. These kids these days, they're so athletic. Back when I was a kid, I didn't have any of this kind of stuff to get me to this level.
No, I was never a good jumper.
I'm just making excuses.
Throw in for Decker. It finds the feet of Hypscher. He runs into a brick wall of Garrett Lilly, and Belia sweeps it clear. Decker quickly. Hypscher backing down Belia. And a foul awarded going against Belia. Drawn by James Hypscher, the University of Rochester forward. Usually a player that comes off the bench for Rush. Hypscher along with Mete off the bench. Dangerous free kick chance here for Rush entering the final 11 minutes of the match. Two-man wall, Decker standing over it.
It'll be interesting to see if they kind of have maybe like a set-piece play that they're going to try to be sneaky about, or if they're just going to rifle this as hard as they can, and see if that ball just bounces around.
Knoll. He hits the referee with the set piece, so they'll do it over again. On the green, had to break on. That's a play you don't see often, trying to be cheeky with the set piece, knocking it directly off the ref.
Well, I was looking at, the center mid standing at the top of the box. He was completely unmarked. Like, if he gets it quick enough, he can have a really good shot on that. But
that's Dylan Maxson, who has been dangerous in moments for Rush today. It will be a drop ball, so not a normal set piece. Flicked in by Noel. Out came Schnurr. He didn't get a strong punch to it. Headed down by Hypscher. O'Neal ushers it out of bounds. And the Green, in the end, do get a goal kick out of it.
Schnurr does just enough, too, though. He gets in there. He breaks it up. Otherwise, it's more of an easy attempt, I guess, on goal for it. So
haven't seen Nathan Schnurr have to do much work today, but he's got the clean sheet intact at the moment.
It's a great ball, great touch.
Options for Joe Morrison. Feels Decker on his back. Still Joe Morrison. Morrison, the last touch. Trouble. A great drive into the attacking third, but couldn't find the final pass.
It's looking a little desperate if we're going to go for that ball, that last ball from Knoll. I get it. It's, the 81st minute, but that ball you hardly win, and it really turns into much, especially when they don't have somebody like Bjorgolfsson, somebody big and physical, that their trademark thing is to bring the ball down out of the air for it. So seen a little too much in this second half, and I get it. You're down. You're trying to get that quick one, but I don't think it's going to come from that.
Now a whistle stops play. Wonder if there's some blood on Carter Belia. He has to quickly rush to the sidelines. Yeah, I think there's got to be blood on the uniform, or he's actively bleeding, so he's coming towards the side.
Oh, yep. You can see medic applying some gauze.
So he's trying to stop the literal bleeding at the moment. Bjorgolfsson keeps it in play perfectly for Morrison. Morrison in some trouble, though. Back for Pacella. And he turns that over looking for Bozalongo. Pacella takes the tackle, and coming over to help out is Mark O'Neal. And now he looks like he's feeling something.
Steady in the back, not letting Blackwatch Rush get through at all.
Come on.
There's only been one shot on goal in this entire second
Advantage played by our referee. This is O'Malley. Gonsalves will run after it with Knoll in front of him. Oh, and he somehow got away from him. And the decision does go the way of the Green. Gonsalves does not look tired for as much running as he's done.
No, and I think he tricked Knoll. He held back there for a minute, too. Just made it look like he was going, all right, yeah, let it roll out. And then he was, nope, I'm going to go get it.
He's got that just extra bounce to his step at all times.
He takes 3 steps, and he's covered like 20 feet.
Yeah. That's a great athlete, Matthew Gonsalves. This is Owen O'Malley. Owen O'Malley! Oh, he does have a feeling for those shots from deep. Man.
He's got one of those in his locker.
He's a proper ball striker.
Yeah.
He knows how to put his laces through it.
To make it 4. But right now, only 3-0 to Vermont Green.
Hypsher knocked away by Pacella. Bozalongo. Kamal. Oh, he opens his hips gorgeously. Bilal Kamal straight lining for the net. He has it tackled away, though. Again, a touch that just got a bit too far out in front of one of the Green attackers.
It was actually really good, kind of tracking back from the center back. I believe he was a sub on this half for Blackwatch, just waiting, because it was almost a carbon copy of the last time where Bjorgolfsson had a heavy touch.
Here we go again. Kamal again racing forward. Colin Sweat in front of him. He's got Bjorgolfsson holding now. Morrison, Pacella.
The sun is down now. The temperature is
How about
dropped.
another one for Owen O'Malley?
A big last 5 minutes.
Gonsalves.
Let's hear it for the boys. Put your hands together.
He's looking for a brace towards Bjorgolfsson and Kamal. Joyce comes out and pounces on it.
The reaction was almost immediate. Come on. Let's get these boys forward.
Another save from James Joyce, urging players away from his net now. At this point, if I'm Joyce, I'm just tired of this. I have been facing an onslaught all day, just bombs it away.
I don't know, though, that highlight reel from the saves that he makes, that could be what makes his career.
You might not be wrong. He has certainly made some big-time stops today.
Good recruits will see that. I mean, the 3 that went in were kind of not much that he could do about, but the ones that he had no business doing about, he did.
Pacella finds Morrison. And now Rush really upping their pressure. Bozalongo in a pretty pocket of space.
Morrison's another player that I remember, in the first 2 matches that you and I were watching, and he had started in the center.
Yeah.
And I didn't think he was necessarily as effective. And then when I see him start, from a wide position and have space to run in and just a little bit more, then he's actually got this kind of explosive, couple steps on him. And he's just looked dangerous in this match from what I've seen. And it was previously, I think a couple matches back, we're watching him start from wide. So I like that Adam has identified this already, and he hasn't had much time to do that.
Not at all. It's good work by the coaching staff. Morrison and Kamal, since coming on tonight, have looked dangerous off the bench.
Yeah, some players think that they, especially when they started getting into their 20s, that they just, they'd really locked themselves into one position for it, and really good management, good coaching staff will make you believe and show you that actually you're really effective, maybe just a little bit tweaked in the actual formation.
I think we've really seen that. Nobody has shown that more than Matthew Gonsalves.
Yeah.
And he is just really blossomed in that left wing role.
I wonder if he's gonna play. I mean, he's had a lot of minutes and a lot of miles tonight, and I'm wondering, all right, is he gonna be playing, this Saturday?
I think part of that depends on if Deba Nwegbo is available, because as great as Gonsalves has been, Deba Nwegbo is still this team's leading scorer with 5 goals on the year. If he's healthy, I think Deba's got to be in the lineup.
Yeah, Nwegbo's a force.
He's just a real talented attacker. And now Kamal having issue with Jimmy Knoll. Free kick going in the direction of the Green. Kamal, of course, has been a player that the coaching staff has leaned on often, but Charlie Adams has looked very dangerous and scored multiple goals tonight playing centrally, so he's got to be an option as well. Into the 89th minute. The Green moments away from closing out a full points victory here at home. Looking to improve to 3-1 at Virtue Field. Bjorgolfsson Knocked back out wide by the Rush defender. That was Knoll. O'Malley. All alone, Bjorgolfsson. He finds a pocket of space. Aitor Bjorgolfsson. Lilly coming in for reinforcements. Oh, Lilly, fancy footwork. Maxson said enough of that. Knocked it away from the Green defender.
I mean, up there with 89 minutes down and up 3-0, go ahead, try something.
That's a moment that a defender always loves to take that chance. Morrison. That cross for Gonsalves for him to chase. And Gonsalves still showing that burst. Gonsalves to the end line. Nobody waiting, and it's knocked away by Decker. Heipscher, and it falls for Mate. Heipscher again. Maxson wide. Mate went up and beat O'Neal for it, but O'Neal commits the foul.
Let's hear it for the Green Mountain Boys, bringing the party this evening.
Zapreta could not bring it down, so as we reach the 90-minute mark, a goal kick for the Green. Matt, overall at this performance, they've answered the call in a variety of ways. They're getting the 3 points they needed. If you're comparing it to what you've seen from this team, are they advancing forward as you would expect them to be at this point?
Yeah, I think the questions that we were asking before the match and speaking with Adam and the staff was, okay, can we kind of lock it in the back now? We've had like a difficult run. We've leaked some sloppy goals for it. That's probably primarily what they wanted to see was a more, defensive sound performance. But we don't want to, dry up the goals either. We don't want to not attack. It's got to be a give and go. And this was a really well-balanced, a match, a performance from the whole team for me. The defense looked, there was a couple stretches a little bit where there was some corner kicks. There was one that hit the crossbar for it, but otherwise they didn't look that fussed for it.
There was about a 15-minute stretch in the first half where things were kind of out of sorts. Outside of that, the defense has been stellar.
Yeah, and I thought, it had a lot to do also with how much the midfield dominated and controlled. I want to say, 70. Well, I'll just throw out a number. 70% of the match, I felt like our midfield was, linking up in these 1-2 passes a lot, creating, just enough space in the pocket. And then next thing you know, you're seeing Adams in the first half, getting released by maybe like Humby or Ferreira or somebody. And then same thing for like Bjorgolfsson. So I'd say the midfield deserves a ton of credit for it, but I'm going to say big highlights out were to Gonsalves and Adam, especially in this match, just for me. And, it's up for debate, absolutely. But I thought Gonsalves has been an absolute menace this entire match for Blackwatch. And, Adam with the 2 goals, what can we say? So, it's just been a very good performance from him. And I think that's going to take a lot of confidence carrying over into Saturday.
As we said, it's a massive matchup Saturday against Boston City FC. Boston City has played at this point one more match than Vermont Green, up by 4 points on them in the standings, but a real chance to make up major ground on Saturday with a team that Vermont Green opened their season against on the road with a 4-0 win. So you better believe Boston City is going to be remembering that match as well, and they are by no means the same squad that Vermont Green blew out in the season opener. I'm really excited for Saturday.
They come with a grudge, we come with confidence.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. And I mean, Boston City enters with confidence too, Matt. They've been in a great run of form as of late. Bouncing around for Pacella. He couldn't get his laces through it.
He gave it a second, but unfortunately, the goalkeeper of the Blackwatch Rush denies again. Got to be man of the match for that team.
It's going to be interesting to see, too, what the starting 11 will look like on Saturday. Whether, is it going to be another heavily rotated 11, or are we going to see something similar? Because this performance begs a lot of questions when you're deciding what 11 are you going to choose.
3-0 is the final score. A brace for Charlie Adams, and then Matthew Gonsalves has the third for the Green. And it's a final, Matt. 3-0. They get the full 3 points. Final thoughts, wrap this one up overall with what you're going to remember from this game.
I'm going to remember very advantageous, to take those goals. A breakup of play for the first one. Kumbi, I believe, or somebody had fed it to Bjorn Golfson. Golfson taking the touch, goes up to Adams. Adams waits for his chance, takes the goal. Second one, they catch Blackwatch, sleeping, and right after that yellow card, Adams decides to take on 2 players, 3 players, goes, takes the second shot. And then, again, another advantageous play from a mistake made by, Blackwatch out of the back. They say, we're not taking any time for this. They go straight to goal. They get rewarded 3-0 for it. So I think it showed a lot of hunger. But then the overall match, as I was saying, defensively as well as going forward was mature. And that's a very good sign and carrying over into Saturday.
Vermont Green back in the win column. 2 p.m. is the start time Saturday. Matt and I will be right back here with you in the broadcast booth. Shout out to our whole production team this evening. It's 3-0. Final score from Virtue Field.